Please subscribe and share for more story. Marina Cole was about to start her engine when she heard a scream behind her. It wasn't a normal shout. It was sharp, violent, and panicked, like someone trying to stop a tragedy. A man yelled, "Ma'am, don't start that car." Marina froze, her fingers hovering over the key. Her heart pounded like it wanted to break out of her ribs. She slowly turned her head. A thin, dirty, trembling man ran toward her old blue sedan. His clothes were torn, and his long, greasy hair stuck to his forehead. He looked like someone who lived in forgotten corners, someone the world never bothered to see. But his eyes were not wild. They were terrified. He slapped both hands against her window and pleaded, "Don't turn that key. Please don't. I saw what she did. I saw her last night. Your daughter-in-law. She was here." Marina stopped breathing. Camille, her daughter-in-law, had been near her car in the middle of the night. She cracked her window just an inch. Her voice was barely a whisper. "What did you see?" The man stepped back, shaking so hard he could barely speak. "She wasn't alone," he said. "She brought a man in a suit. They opened your hood. They had a little bag." The car keys dropped from Marina's hand into her lap. That metallic clink sounded like a warning from somewhere beyond. 3 weeks earlier, her husband Henry had died from what the hospital called a sudden heart attack. The doctors said it like a sentence, simple, final, unquestionable. But Marina never believed it. Henry had been strong. He walked every day. He avoided heavy foods. He laughed easily. And then he was suddenly gone, and Camille was the only one beside him. "Why are you telling me this?" Marina whispered. The trembling man blinked fast, fighting tears. "Because Mr. Henry was good to me. He gave me food sometimes. He looked at me like a person. Last night I dreamed about him. He said, 'Protect Marina. Watch her car.' So I came." Marina felt her throat close. Henry had always believed in kindness, even when no one deserved it. She stepped out of the car and opened the hood. What she saw crushed her breath. One of the ignition cables was cleanly sliced. Hidden near the engine was a small black plastic pouch. It smelled faintly of gasoline. The stranger whispered, "If you started that car, you'd be gone." A wave of cold rolled through her bones. Camille wanted her dead. Marina slammed the hood shut. She forced her tears away and asked the man, "What's your name?" He shrugged. "People call me Trace." She pressed some folded bills into his hand, everything she had on her. "Thank you, Trace. I'll come back for more details." She called a taxi. She refused to drive that car. As the cab sped toward downtown Cleveland, her fear changed into something sharper. Understanding. Camille had made a mistake. She thought Marina was a weak, grieving widow, easy to erase. But Marina now knew. And a woman who knows is dangerous. She arrived at the law office where Henry's will was being read. Camille sat beside Marina's son, Ryan, dressed in flawless black with pearl earrings and a soft fake smile. When Marina walked in, Camille showed a flash of shock, a flash of fear. She didn't expect Marina alive. "Mom," Ryan whispered, hugging his mother. His shoulders were heavy. He'd aged 10 years in 3 weeks. Camille hugged Marina too, her perfume too sweet and her hands cold. "Your car wouldn't start?" she asked a little too quickly. Marina stared at her and replied, "A cable was sliced. I took a taxi." Camille blinked. Her smile cracked for a second. The attorney cleared his throat. His name was Mr. Vaughn, a tall man in a blue tie. Beside him sat a young assistant named Darius, silent, observing. The reading began normally. The family house, left to Marina. Bank accounts, left to her as well. Some stored land, split between Ryan and his sister in Texas. Then came the bomb. Vaughn paused and adjusted his glasses. According to the modification signed last August, the commercial building in Los Angeles, the warehouse in Anaheim, and the apartment in Beverly Hills are granted to Mrs. Camille Rivers Cole. Silence dropped like stone. Marina stared at the papers. Henry's signature was there. But something was deeply wrong. Ryan rubbed his temples. "Dad told me she helped him with the business," he murmured. They worked on accounts together. Marina turned to him, pain slicing her chest. You knew and never told me? Ryan lowered his eyes. He said he'd tell you when it was time. Camille rested her hand over his. Marina, she said softly, Henry trusted me. He knew I'd take care of Ryan and you. Marina felt sick. She stood quickly. I need air. The hallway outside was narrow and cold. Millions of dollars had been handed to Camille like candy.
Why?
And why try to kill Marina? Camille left the conference room and approached her. The smile returned, calm, superior. I know this is emotional, Marina, but Henry's wishes must be honored. Marina stared hard. Were you near my car last night? Camille blinked. Her smile twitched.
What?
Of course not. Marina answered. Someone saw you. Camille exhaled sharply. Maybe grief is confusing your mind. You should rest. She returned to the conference room before Marina could reply. And something changed inside Marina. Fear was replaced by clarity. Camille had manipulated Henry. She had used his trust. She had forged documents. And she had tried to kill Marina so no one could question anything. But she had left the wrong woman alive. Marina returned to sign the required forms. Inside, she was preparing for war. In the days that followed, Marina lived inside a nightmare of whispers. At the market, people stared. Rumors spread. Maybe Henry didn't die naturally. The hospital never explained his collapse. At the drugstore, a cashier looked at her with pity. 2 neighbors whispered about Camille inheriting 3 properties. The betrayal wasn't private anymore. Everyone else suspected, but Marina had no proof. Only instincts, grief, and a sliced cable that nearly killed her. That night, Marina went into Henry's study, desperate for answers. She searched through drawers, receipts, photos, a picture of them in San Diego. She touched Henry's smiling face and whispered, "Why did you leave me alone?" Then she found a manila folder hidden beneath architectural sketches. Inside were bank statements from an account she didn't recognize, an account with Henry's name and Camille's. Transfers of $200,000 in August, then $100,000 in September. A week before Henry died, another $300,000. And after his death, $200,000 more. $600,000 gone. Marina checked her calendars. In August, she was away in Dallas. In September, she was in Sedona. Camille had waited until Marina was gone. Marina's phone rang. An unknown number. Mrs. Cole, a voice asked. Who is this? I'm Dr. Harland. I was on duty when your husband was admitted. Marina felt her chest tighten. Why are you calling? The doctor hesitated. I need to speak with you in person. There is something that should have been investigated but wasn't. Something involving his blood work. And the person who stayed with him. Marina's hand shook. Where and when? Tomorrow. 3 p.m. The cafe across from the hospital. Please come. Alone. The next day, Marina sat at the cafe 30 minutes early. She stared at the 5-story hospital. Once it symbolized hope. Now it looked like a tomb. Dr. Harland entered, gray coat, tired eyes. He sat across from her and spoke quietly. Your husband arrived with stomach pain and dizziness. We thought gastritis. But his condition declined at impossible speed. Irregular heart rhythm, confusion, and extremely high potassium levels. Marina frowned. What does that mean? The doctor answered, a massive potassium increase can stop a heart. But Henry had no medical reason for those numbers. No kidney issues. No medication. Someone could have administered potassium from outside. Marina pressed her hands over her mouth. Who? I can't say for certain, Harland replied. But only one person had unrestricted access. Only one insisted the family refuse an autopsy, your daughter-in-law. Marina closed her eyes. Harland continued. I raised questions. The director refused. Without family consent, an autopsy couldn't proceed. Your son supported her decision to cremate the body. Marina whispered. So there is no proof. Harland slid a folder across the table. But there are copies of his blood work. If this goes to trial, I will testify. I believe your husband was poisoned. Marina left the cafe numb. She entered a small church nearby and sat in the last pew. She looked at the altar and whispered, "Henry, I'm sorry. I couldn't protect you." Tears rolled silently, but something inside hardened. Camille had destroyed her family, stolen money, forged legal documents, taken properties, and ended Henry's life. And Ryan, blinded by grief and loyalty, could not see the truth. Marina stepped back into the world with a cold purpose. She needed help, someone who understood shadows and evidence. She contacted an old friend of Henry's, Rafael Cortez, once a business partner, now a private investigator. Rafael met her in a quiet restaurant booth. Marina told him everything: the scream, the sliced cable, the gasoline bag, the forged documents, the bank transfers, the doctor's testimony. Rafael didn't interrupt. He took steady notes. When she finished, he shut his notebook. "This is serious," he said. "But suspicion is not evidence. You need proof that law cannot ignore." Marina nodded. "How much will this cost?" Rafael shrugged. "Surveillance, digital tracking, financial digging, maybe 50,000 to begin." Marina slid a check across the table. "Do it. Please." 10 days of silence turned Marina into a restless nightwalker. She hardly slept. When the phone finally rang, Rafael delivered the first crack of truth. "Her name isn't Camille Rivers Cole," he said. "Her real name is Vivian Marks. 10 years ago, she was accused of fraud in Phoenix. She scammed an elderly man. Case closed when he died of a heart attack." Marina gasped. Another heart attack. 2 days later, Rafael called again. "The 600,000 transfers are confirmed. Some were moved after Henry was unconscious. Someone used his passwords." The third call chilled Marina further. "Vivian has been meeting with a man. Black BMW. Sharp suits. I have photos." Marina opened the pictures. The man was Darius, the young assistant in the law office. So he was more than an assistant. He was her partner. Maybe the forger. Marina whispered, "They killed my husband. They tried to kill me. And they're stealing everything." Rafael said, "We're not done. I want the smoking gun." 2 days later, he said, "Come to my office now." Marina arrived breathless. Rafael opened 2 signature samples side by side, Henry's old contract and the modified will. The loops and angles didn't match. "The signature is fake," Rafael said. "This document is fraud." Marina leaned against the desk. "We can arrest them now, right?" Rafael shook his head. "Forgery plus suspicion equals a case. But it's not enough for a clean conviction. A defense attorney will claim Henry signed voluntarily. We need Vivian or Darius to incriminate themselves. And they will if they feel safe." Marina frowned. "How?" Rafael smiled. "We set a trap. You act like you're broken. Like you accept defeat. Invite them over. Feed them. Make peace. Their ego will talk." Marina spent 2 days practicing a tired smile in the mirror. On Thursday, she called Vivian. Her voice trembled on purpose. "Vivian, I want peace. Ryan needs peace. Henry wouldn't want bitterness. Can you come to dinner Saturday? I want to sign papers. Close this chapter." On the other end, Vivian paused, then replied, falsely sweet, "Of course, Marina. That is a wonderful idea." On Friday, Rafael installed hidden cameras, one inside a wall clock, one in a plant, one in the kitchen. "Ask questions. Don't accuse," he warned. "Let her brag." Saturday came. Marina cooked Ryan's favorites: roast turkey, mashed potatoes, cinnamon pie. She lit candles and smiled at the tablecloth stretching smooth across polished wood. At 8 o'clock, the doorbell rang. Ryan entered first, smiling gently. "Mom, thank you for trying." He hugged her, and the hug broke Marina's heart. Vivian walked in behind him, long black dress, hair in a tight bun, confident posture. "This looks beautiful," Vivian said. "I knew you'd choose peace." Marina offered wine. They talked about Cleveland weather, bridge repairs, how traffic was terrible on Saturdays. Ryan eased into comfort. Vivian watched Marina like a fox studying prey. Marina lifted her glass. Henry trusted you, Vivian. Vivian smiled elegantly. I was good for him. I helped him manage stress. Marina nodded. He changed so much near the end. He became distant, secretive. Vivian took a slow drink. That's life, Marina. People get tired. Marina held her gaze. Especially strange when doctors had no clear explanation for his collapse. Vivian didn't blink. Ryan cleared his throat. Mom, let's not do this tonight. Marina nodded. I'm sorry. I'm grateful you were with him. Better you than him dying alone. Vivian answered proudly. Someone had to care for him properly. Ryan shifted, uneasy. Marina placed a gentle smile. I just wonder what would have happened if things had been different. Vivian set down her glass. Different how? I don't know, Marina said softly. If I had started my car that day. Silence sliced through the room. Vivian stiffened. What car? She asked too quickly. Mine, Marina replied. The mechanic said it looked like sabotage. But that seems silly, right? Vivian didn't respond. Her muscles tightened. Marina continued serving turkey. Vivian started talking more. Too much. Boasting about how Henry trusted her. He asked me to manage his accounts, she said. He said Ryan was too emotional for money decisions. Ryan chuckled awkwardly. It's true. I'm terrible with numbers. Marina smiled. Strange, though. The bank said some transfers happened while Henry was unconscious. How could he approve that? Vivian's laugh faltered. Banks mess up often. Marina tilted her head. Maybe someone used his passwords. Vivian snapped. Marina, where are you going with this? Marina shrugged. Nowhere. I spoke to a homeless man. He saw a woman with a man in a suit by my car at night. Vivian's chair scraped back violently. We're leaving. Your mother is paranoid, Ryan. Ryan stood too. Vivian, what is she talking about? Marina whispered. Ask her about Darius, the lawyer who handled the will. Ask about the $600,000 moved before and after Henry died. Ask about the potassium. Ryan stared at his wife, confusion turning into fear. Vivian, answer her. She's jealous. Vivian snapped. She hates me. Ryan's voice rose. Answer me. Vivian went still. Then she smiled, a cold, dead smile. Your father was a fool, she said. He signed anything I placed in front of him. He was weak. It was easy. Ryan staggered backward. Vivian added, and I regret only one thing, not finishing the job. Marina whispered, finishing meaning killing me? Vivian reached into her purse and pulled out a silver letter opener. Ryan shouted, Vivian, no. She lunged. Marina moved quickly, and the blade grazed her arm. The front door burst open. Raphael entered with 2 police officers. Drop it, an officer yelled. Vivian froze. The blade hit the floor. You recorded it? Marina asked Raphael. Every word, he said. Stored and backed up. Vivian screamed as the officers restrained her. It's a setup. She provoked me. Ryan dropped to his knees, hands over his face. Marina knelt beside him and whispered, It's over. He sobbed into her shoulder. Investigations unfolded for months. Vivian, real name Vivian Marks, was charged with attempted murder, fraud, forgery, conspiracy, and involvement in Henry's death. Darius was charged as her partner. Trace, the homeless witness, testified bravely. Dr. Harland provided medical evidence. The forged signatures sealed everything. In court, Marina sat beside Ryan. When the jury delivered the verdict, guilty on all counts, Marina did not cheer. She exhaled like someone finishing a climb. Vivian received 18 years. Darius received 15. After the sentencing, Raphael told Marina, Justice doesn't bring joy. It brings closure. The forged documents were voided. Properties returned. Bank accounts restored. But none of it returned Henry or erased betrayal. Marina visited the porch one quiet Sunday. Ryan brought white lilies. Mom, he whispered, I failed you. I failed him. I didn't listen. Marina shook her head. You were in love. Love blinds. Ryan cried in her arms. Marina realized that a mother forgives without negotiation. Later, she sold 2 properties and created a trust fund for Ryan's future children. She donated a portion to St. Jude Hospital for improved security. Another portion went to a homeless shelter. Trace, the man who saved her life, was the first resident. Months later, cleaning Henry's study again, Marina found an envelope hidden inside an old poetry book. She unfolded the letter. Henry's handwriting trembled across the page. Marina, if you're reading this, I made a mistake. I trusted the wrong person. I fear I let danger into our home. If anything happens, fight. You are stronger than you know. Marina clutched the page and wept, not from despair, but release. She whispered toward the ceiling. It's done, Henry. I defended us. 6 months later, Marina found Trace at his regular corner. Mrs. Cole, he said shyly. Marina handed him an envelope. Inside, $100,000. Trace shook his head. I can't accept this. Marina said, You earned it. You saved a life. Trace wiped tears. It wasn't just me. I dreamed of Henry. He wore a gray suit. He told me, watch Marina. Don't let her start the car. So I ran. Marina felt her eyes sting as Trace described the dream. He was looking right at me, Trace said. He said, protect my wife. I woke up shaking. Then I heard you outside. I ran. Marina placed a gentle hand on his arm. Henry always believed people were worth saving. I'm glad he saved you too. Trace looked confused. What do you mean? She smiled. Now you have a new chance. Use it. Then she walked away slowly, letting the Cleveland air wrap around her like a calm blanket. That night, she sat on her porch and watched the streetlights glow like tiny stars in a dark net. She realized she was breathing more freely. No fear. No threats. No lies. She folded her hands and whispered, Good night, Henry. For the first time in months, she slept without waking in terror. In the morning, she cleaned her kitchen, humming quietly. I survived, she murmured. I survived everything they planned. Ryan came later that afternoon. He stood in the doorway awkwardly, holding nothing in his hands. Mom, I don't know how to be around you, he said. Marina smiled softly. Sit down, Ryan. You don't have to apologize anymore. He lowered himself into a chair, eyes red. But I do. I didn't listen. I trusted the wrong person. I convinced myself that Camille loved me. Marina shook her head gently. You wanted a family, Ryan. Wanting love isn't foolish. He looked at the floor. How do I fix this? Marina reached across the table and took his hand. You heal. You move forward. That's all anyone can do. Ryan took a shaky breath. Do you think Dad knew she was dangerous? Marina nodded slowly. He suspected. But Henry believed in hope, even when it hurt him. Ryan blinked slowly. I wish I had his heart. Marina squeezed his fingers. You already do. As weeks passed, Ryan began therapy. He stopped drinking late at night. He stopped blaming himself. He visited Marina every Sunday. They ate together, sometimes without saying much. Silence no longer felt like punishment. It felt like recovery. One afternoon, Ryan said, Mom, I want to understand love differently. Not as rescue, not as fear, but as partnership. Marina smiled. That is what your father always wanted for you. Ryan nodded. I'm working on a project at the community office, helping families with estate planning. I want to prevent other people from being manipulated. Marina felt pride rise like warm steam. Henry would be proud. Ryan cleared his throat. I hope one day I meet someone good, but I'm not ready now. Marina nodded. Healing has no schedule. Don't rush. Ryan smiled weakly. I love you, Mom. She replied, I love you more than anything. Marina slowly rebuilt her private world. She rearranged furniture. She donated Henry's suits to a veterans charity. She started a small garden behind the house, basil, mint, tomatoes. It smelled like new beginnings. One neighbor, Mrs. Hutchins, called from across the fence. "Marina, you're glowing again." Marina laughed softly. "Maybe I just needed sunshine." The neighbor nodded knowingly. Or truth. That evening, Marina made herself a simple dinner. She sat at the table alone, but she did not feel lonely. Instead, she felt accompanied by memory, not haunted. She raised a glass of water and whispered, "To peace." Then she took a long sip and exhaled. No more hospitals. No more forged documents. No more pretending. She owned her voice again, and she refused to let bitterness take root. One Saturday morning, Marina returned to St. Jude Hospital, not with fear, but with purpose. She entered the administrative office and greeted the director. "My name is Marina Cole," she said. "I want to fund improvements in patient security protocols." The director blinked in surprise. "Mrs. Cole, after everything you went through?" Marina nodded. "Pain should become prevention." The director swallowed hard. "Thank you. Many families will be safer because of you." Marina turned to leave and found Dr. Harland in the hallway. He looked shocked. "You came back." She smiled. "You told the truth. When no one wanted to hear it." "Thank you." The doctor said, "Your husband deserved justice." Marina answered calmly, and he received it because brave people spoke. Harlan nodded once, deeply. Marina walked out of the hospital into warm sunlight. She no longer felt like a widow lost in shadows. She felt like a woman walking forward. Months passed. Fall arrived early. The leaves turned gold and copper. Marina's garden survived the first cold night, and she whispered, "We're stronger than we think." That Sunday, a delivery truck pulled up. A man stepped out holding a small wooden box. "Delivery for Mrs. Cole." Marina signed and opened it. Inside lay Henry's old cufflinks, recovered from evidence storage after the case ended. A note rested beneath. "These belong to a man who loved fiercely. May his strength continue in your home." Marina brushed her fingers over the metal. "Thank you, Henry," she murmured. She placed the cufflinks on her mantle, not as a trophy, but as a memory of loyalty. Later that night, she sat on her couch and knitted a scarf. Ryan walked in unexpectedly. "Still up?" he asked. She chuckled. "Old hands don't sleep early." Ryan sat beside her. "Mom, I want you to know I'm okay." She nodded. "I believe you." Ryan hesitated before speaking again. "Sometimes I dream of Dad," he said. "In the dream, he walks away from me. I call out, but he doesn't turn." Marina sighed softly. "Dreams show pain that hasn't spoken yet." Ryan wiped his eyes. "I wasted so much time defending someone who never loved me." Marina turned toward him. "Ryan, she manipulated you. That is not stupidity. That is vulnerability. And vulnerability is part of being human." Ryan exhaled shakily. "Do you forgive me?" Marina placed her hand on his cheek. "Forgiveness was never the question. You are my son. You are grieving. And grief blinds." He nodded, resting his forehead on her shoulder. "Thank you for not giving up on me." Marina smiled thoughtfully. A mother's promise doesn't break. Winter crept into the city with silent frost. Marina spent the holidays with Ryan instead of traveling. They cooked simple meals. They decorated a small tree. Ryan surprised her with a wrapped gift. Marina opened it slowly and gasped. Inside was a framed photograph of Henry smiling on a fishing dock. Marina pressed her lips together, fighting tears. "Where did you find this?" she whispered. Ryan said, "Dad sent it to me 2 years ago. I kept it in my drawer. I wanted to wait for the right moment." Marina hugged the frame. "This is perfect." Ryan asked, "Are you lonely?" Marina answered honestly, "Sometimes. But loneliness doesn't scare me. Silence doesn't scare me. Lies scare me. Manipulation scares me. But I survived." Ryan smiled. "Dad always said you were steel." Marina nodded. "He knew me best." By spring, Marina joined a local community group that helped widows review financial documents. She spoke gently to every woman who sat across from her. "Grief makes us easy to trick," she would say. "That doesn't mean we are weak. It means we are loving." People trusted her story, not for its drama, but for its honesty. One woman asked, "What made you fight?" Marina replied, "Truth and love." After each session, Marina walked home past a long row of trees. The branches swayed above her, whispering like old friends. She sometimes whispered back, "I'm still here." Her steps grew firmer, her shoulders lighter, her voice steady. She no longer lived in Henry's shadow. She carried his memory like a lantern, lighting her way, not darkening her direction. On a late summer evening, Marina sat on her porch again. A soft breeze lifted her hair. She watched Ryan pull into the driveway smiling, something he hadn't done in a long time. He joined her on the porch swing. "Mom," he said, "I think Dad would be proud of us." Marina looked at the sky. "I hope so." Ryan leaned back. "We didn't let pain destroy us." Marina nodded. "We turned it into protection, into justice." For a long while, they swung quietly. Fireflies dotted the yard like floating sparks. Marina whispered, "Real wealth isn't money. Real wealth is knowing you survived. Real wealth is knowing you did right." Ryan closed his eyes. "And love." Marina smiled. "Love is the real inheritance. Henry gave us that." The night deepened, peaceful and calm. Marina breathed in, slow, steady, unafraid. She had lost. She had fought. She had rebuilt. And she remained standing. Thanks for watching. If you value stories of respect, dignity, and justice, please subscribe. It means more than you know, and it lets me keep sharing the lessons life has carved into me.